Well, happy Monday to you, and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Chad Silver. We got Monique Robinson, and we have Jalen Gilkey. Well, Monique, she's going to pop up in a second.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
she's going to be there. You just wait. Maybe she's having a case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
If you're having a case of the Mondays, we are here to change that all around. We're going to have some fun today.
Lots of fun, especially on our Facebook page. You want to make sure that you join us. We are live there. Come and chat with us during the breaks. Lots to talk about, including our top story. Happening today, Guilford County leaders are holding an emergency management meeting. Guilford County Commissioner and Board Chair Skip Alston told us he wants to propose a countywide mask mandate at today's meeting.
Alston says he's also considering calling for all county employees to get vaccinated. The county's previous mask mandate ended May 19th. Alston says drastic action is needed to handle the rapid increase in cases. We have also just learned the county will hold a news conference at 6 p.m. after its meeting tonight.
Mask mandates have already returned to some city and county facilities. Masks are once again required in places like Greensboro city buildings, Alamance County courthouses, and Guilford County buildings. But today's conversation surrounds if a larger countywide mandate is once again necessary. WFOY News 2's Grace Holland spoke with leaders about this afternoon's meeting. She will have a closer look at the discussion coming up at 5.
School districts are also making mask decisions right now. Rockingham is meeting tonight to decide whether to make them optional or require them for unvaccinated staff and students. We'll have live updates throughout the evening.
School is approaching, fast-pushing districts to make decisions now for the safety of children and staff. Schools requiring masks will include Guilford, Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, Alamance Burlington Schools, Lexington City Schools, and Montgomery County. Other districts that voted to make masks optional are Davidson, Randolph, Stokes, Wilkes, and Yadkin County Schools. And districts are making their decisions based on the state's updated Strong Schools NC Public Health Toolkit. The toolkit does suggest all schools require masks for students and staff anytime they're inside, regardless of their vaccination status. The state's guidance is a suggestion. The decision is left up to districts.
We hit some major highs in our state's coronavirus numbers over the weekend. On Saturday, the state reported more than 5,000 new cases. Yesterday, that's the high one you see over there. It reported more than 6,800. Now, we haven't seen a number this high since late January. That's a huge number compared to what we've seen lately. Today's number is at 3,800. Now, it's lower than the past 2 days, but we've come to expect lower numbers on Mondays because of fewer tests performed over the weekend.
And protests continued in the TRIAD after healthcare systems ordered vaccine mandates for all employees. About 100 protesters gathered outside the Navant Health Forsyth Medical Center this morning to protest the mask mandate. All Navant Health employees must be fully vaccinated by September 15th. Cone Health employees must be fully vaccinated by October 1st and must submit proof of vaccination by the 8th. Wake Forest Baptist Health employees must be fully vaccinated by October 31st.
One reason some are pushing back against the vaccine is because it's not yet fully approved by the FDA. Dr. Anthony Fauci says he's hopeful the FDA will approve at least one of the vaccines by the end of this month. Right now, all three are only granted emergency use approval. Fauci says he believes full approval will lead to more vaccine requirements locally.
That could be colleges, universities, places of business, a whole variety, and I strongly support that.
When the mass vaccine rollout began, it was a relief to many TRIAD teachers looking forward to getting back in the classrooms with their students, the vaccine rollout, excuse me. But not all teachers rolled up their sleeves, and that's their choice. But what happens if your child catches the virus from an unvaccinated teacher? Our Verified team explains.
Each district in North and South Carolina is taking different approaches to this school year. One question that parents are wondering is if a teacher is not vaccinated and gets their child sick, can they sue? Let's verify. Our sources, local school districts, Gary Monty, attorney and managing partner at Monty PLLC, a law firm here in Charlotte, and Dr. Chris Brazier, emergency medicine physician and medical director corporate health at Novant Health. We spoke with each public school district in the Charlotte area, and they all tell us they do not require teachers to get the COVID-19 vaccine. That decision comes despite Dr. Brazier saying the Delta variant is more dangerous.
Delta variant is thought to be extremely contagious, much more contagious than the original variations of the COVID virus.
So what happens if your child gets sick from a teacher who chose not to get the shot?
Can parents sue if a child gets sick from an unvaccinated teacher?
The answer to that question is yes. The North Carolina Supreme Court said that if you negligently transmit a disease to someone else, you can be held liable under the regular rules of negligence in North Carolina for that.
This North Carolina Supreme Court case from 1920 called Kroll versus Kroll established that principle. Monty says it's been used many times in North Carolina courtrooms.
So what that means is that if you are not following what the law calls ordinary care, meaning using reasonable care in how you're going about your interactions with people today in the midst of a pandemic, that you could be held liable for money damages as a result of that.
But would this stand up in court? Monty says it depends on the evidence and the jury.
In our context here, that means, are you using a hand sanitizer? Are you wearing a mask? Are you vaccinated? And the jury would be asked whether or not the person with COVID had been acting in a reasonable way.
So we can verify that, yes, parents can sue if their child gets sick from an unvaccinated teacher.
All right, time now to get to your 4 to 5 roundup. First up, High Point police say they are investigating a homicide on West English Road. We don't know much more than that, nothing about the victim, a possible suspect, or what happened. We will keep you in the loop. Lexington police say a Davidson County Sheriff's deputy hit and killed someone walking on the road. They say the deputy was driving on Business 2970 South when they hit a person crossing the street. Police aren't revealing either identity just yet. State lawmakers in New York are discussing impeachment proceedings against Governor Andrew Cuomo. They sent a letter last week to Cuomo's legal team asking he provide any additional evidence. The New York Attorney General said last week an independent investigation found the governor sexually harassed 11 women, including women who worked for him. Cuomo has denied the allegations.
A mother and son are charged with selling drugs out of their convenience store in Thomasville. Police say they conducted an investigation along with NCALE after receiving complaints about possible drug activity at King's Food Mart on Martin Luther King Drive. Investigators seized cocaine, marijuana, a handgun, and a rifle in a 2019 Ford F-150 Raptor that was reported stolen from Alexander County, and more than $28,000 in cash from the store. A second search was carried out with the help of the High Point police at a home on Friddle Drive. There, more cash, cocaine, marijuana, and even hallucinogenic mushrooms were seized. Saghar Khan was captured with multiple counts of possession, and then his mother, Rohina Khan, was charged with maintaining a dwelling for selling and keeping controlled substances. Greensboro police are investigating what led to a driver being shot on US 29 earlier today. Officers responded to the Circle K on Rehoboth Church Road for an aggravated assault. The victim reported they were driving southbound near Martin Luther King Jr. Drive when their car was shot at. The driver is okay and received treatment from medical staff. If you have any information that could help investigators, you can submit anonymous tips to Crime Stoppers. That number, 336-373-1000.
All right, I promise I'm here with the weather, and the big story for much of this week is all going to be about the heat. Whether you're outside right now like me or you've been out earlier today, I know you felt it. Not only the heat, but the humidity, those dew points in the 70s making for very uncomfortable feels. But we're not the only ones feeling the heat. I mean, take a look at these feels-like temperatures across much of the southeast in the triple digits. And for not too long, we're going to start to see those triple-digit numbers in our field feels like temperatures here at home. Now take a look across our area here in the Triad. The bigger numbers that you're seeing, that's what the number reads on a thermometer. But the numbers right next to them, the lower numbers, the smaller numbers, excuse me, that's the feels like temperatures. What it actually feels like when you walk out the door, factoring in the humidity. I'm already starting to sweat and I've only been outside for just about a minute. These feels like temperatures even for tomorrow are trending upward. You can see towards the afternoon, that's especially when the sun is really shining or really allowing for those temperatures to really bake us by the latter part of the day. We start to see those feels like temperatures riding around that 100 number, at least here in Greensboro. I know in some spots are going to feel exactly like 100 starting even tomorrow and continuing through the rest of the week. Why is that? Well, high pressure. This Bermuda high in place keeps pumping in tropical moisture. That means heat and humidity. We're all going to be feeling it, all going to be talking about it for this upcoming week. As we go into the weekend, that's when things will change. And I mean an 80. I have an 80 in the forecast. I'll be breaking it all down in just a bit.
Yes, sir, I am still here. No problem.
Oh, sorry. So I wanted to let you know, because my IFB goes like in and out, sometimes I can hear cues, sometimes I can't. So if you see me like not rapping and you're telling me to rap, just like keep saying rap. So like
There are thousands of people who struggle with addiction here in our area every single day. And one local mother is turning her tragic loss into an opportunity to save the lives of strangers. WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey went to High Point to learn more about KAITLYN'S house.
Well, Caitlin Drake died July 29th, 2020 after overdosing on heroin laced with fentanyl. However, before she passed, Caitlin had been sober for months and was doing the best she could to get her life back on track. Now, Caitlin's mother, Caroline, has partnered with GC Stop to keep Caitlin's name alive and to help others that are struggling with addiction as well.
I just couldn't think of anything that would honor her more.
Caitlin Drake lost her battle with addiction July of 2020. Ever since then, her mother, Caroline, has partnered with GC Stop, an organization that helps provide a safe space for people who suffer from addiction and are trying to find solutions for Guilford County's opioid problem.
I think a lot of people would think how hard it would be to be involved in what ultimately did take her life. But I do know that she, had been sober for 9 months. She was volunteering with GC Stop, and, that gave her so much hope. It gave me so much hope for her. But I know that that's something she would want to continue, and I know that she can't. And so it's given me an incredible amount of peace and healing.
Recently, they opened KAITLYN'S house in High Point, a transitional and sober living home for people struggling to get back on their feet. Chase Holloman now works for GC Stop, but he once was in the same position as the people he's now helping.
So we are here at KAITLYN'S house. It's a new addition to our program, and what we've done for the last 3.5 years is reach out to people who use drugs and offer them resources and help, and most importantly, kindness.
If you want to get in contact with GC Stop or know someone who may need some help, I've attached a link to their website in this web story on WFMYnews2.com.
And I think this is such a great program, or an idea to get behind, especially, we've been hearing over the last few months that opioid addiction has kind of taken, or at least talking about opioid addiction has taken a back seat during the pandemic. And so it's good that there are people and places and organizations out there helping people who, addictions don't take breaks for a pandemic.
Absolutely right. And it's great to have these programs because addiction also doesn't discriminate. It does affect everyday people, no matter of your job or your background, and people, they just need that extra help to guide them on the right path, because it's not an easy disease to fight.
And think about all those families, Jalen. I know you talked to them about being a support system for people who are dealing with addiction.
And that's all GC Stop in this program is trying to do. They want to be of a space and just be available to people who need help. You can stop by the house if you just need to wash some clothes, if you just need to take a shower. There's several resources available, not just the everyday trying to get clean, but just the individual and everyday tasks that anyone needs to accomplish.
And what a great way to just honor your loved one's name, to be able to help other people. Her life really does go on, and her life had purpose and had meaning. Absolutely.
Thanks, Jalen. We'll be right back.
Woo! Mic check, one. I'll take it. Oh, thank you. Mic check, 1, 2. I will run my prompter for my hits. The wait is just about over.
The wait is just about over. Wyndham Week has finally arrived.
Yes, and with the return of the tournament also means the return of fans. So Luke, some of the fan favorite amenities are also making a comeback, I hear.
Yeah, Chad and Lauren, the Wyndham Championship isn't just about the golf, right? It's also about that, but plus much more. A huge reason why this annual tournament is such a hit with the general public here in the Triad. Does Margaritaville ring a bell? That's coming back this year and then some. Remember, this year's tournament will allow up to 15,000 fans a day throughout the week. And with that, all the amenities you're used to will also be back. Margaritaville, the fan pavilion, even the Sunbrella wine deck. The list really just goes on, and tournament director Mark Brazel is confident everyone will find something they love.
On the back of 10, we have the Wyndham Rewards Earners Club, and it's a pretty good monstrosity of a build out for the public, and it's a great place for people to go hang out. Again, we have a lot of places like over here to Margaritaville, the Truist Fan Pavilion. We have so many places around this golf course that are basically hospitality for somebody who just goes and buys a ticket. We've got all this, this hospitality basically for just about everybody, and I think that's really important for us. Yeah, I think that's one of the really cool things about the Wyndham Championship is just how much we have for the regular ticket holder.
I think that excitement's starting to build. Remember, tournament play tees off this Thursday. It's also exciting. The tournament's just back to what I think all the fans are used to, and finally back to some normalcy, right?
Yeah.
Margaritaville.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite spots. And then also seeing the beach out there. I can never get on the beach because I don't know how you even get on the beach. But yeah, it's so unique, such a unique golf tournament. And I love that it's coming back, and I love that we'll be able to be out there this year.
Yes, and just the mention of Margaritaville, I'm like, I got to make sure that I get my tickets. But this is just exciting to see. A lot of people are just looking forward to that sense of normalcy again. And I mean, what's a game without fans?
Right. I haven't even really looked at the forecast yet, but I assume it's going to be 90 degrees and sweltering because that's what happens during the week of the Wyndham. But it's always fun to just be out there.
It's always very, very hot. I remember every time I go out there, I'm just drenched like I just got out of the shower. But it shouldn't deter anyone from going down to this tournament. And if you're a golf fan yourself, great field. One of the best fields I can remember in recent memory. So we have great golf. And of course, all the additional activities on the side. It's really a win-win situation.
Just cool off with a nice margarita.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Everything in moderation, folks.
All right, thanks, Luke. Coming up in about 30 minutes, we're going to take a closer look at the efforts to keep fans safe at the Wyndham this year. Monique.
Yeah, talking about normalcy, we're jumping back into the 90s as we go into this week. So that's the normalcy, at least for here in August. Last week, we were below average for the entire week. That's kind of not really normal, but we're jumping back into that as we go into this week. Now, take a look at this time lapse at Truist Field. Beautiful sunrise there heading towards the east. And then as we went throughout the day, we had some few puffy cumulus clouds make their way through, giving for a fairly nice day, I guess, for summer, give or take. We didn't see any shower or storm activity, but it was very hot. Now, if you take a look at our radar, just looping through the last 30 minutes, you can see completely dry across the radar. I'm expecting us to stay mainly dry today, but rain chances are expected to increase as we go throughout this week. You can definitely see towards the weekend, that's when we're starting to see some greater showers and storms roll through. But again, can't rule out the possibility of a late day shower or storm tomorrow, Wednesday, or even on Thursday. Here are your main weather headlines. So what you need to know for this week, Chad was on point with it. Sweltering heat. That's what we're going to be feeling this week with heat indices right around 100 for a lot of locations. Now, again, those PM showers and storms are more likely starting tomorrow and then continuing for this upcoming week and also into next weekend. Now, I also have some 80s on there as we start to go into the weekend with the additional storm and shower activity as well as the cloud cover could help us cool down a bit, especially Sunday. I'm timing out things and going into your Monday. Here's a look at that full 7 day. I know you've been waiting to see it. Here's a look at all of the numbers all on there. Now, although we do have 90s in the forecast, it will feel definitely warmer than what these temperature reads are because, again, the humidity, when they work with the temperature, makes it feel very warm and even sticky. I'm even starting to sweat standing out here during this forecast. So that's how all of us are going to be feeling over the next couple of days.
What does this word mean to you? Let. When you say you've let something happen or you've let someone do something, what does that mean? So the standard definition usually means to allow. But in today's UDay segment, Coach Lamont teaches us a second definition we should be cautious of.
In the beginning, there was one word that was released into the atmosphere. That word was let. Matter of fact, each day began with the word let. It is a word so powerful that it opens up the door to a new realm. The word means grant permission to something, and it also means to hinder. What have you permitted in your life that you should have hindered, and what have you hindered in your life that you should have permitted? We are easily lost in the events of life that we rarely focus on the unseen results that are quietly unfolding. When you search your life, you will discover that many things that happen maybe didn't have to. So how are you going to change your let to allow your life to experience a new experience? Grant yourself this permission and hinder whatever would stop you from proceeding. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best UDay. I'll see you tomorrow.
It's a good lesson there, but at the same time, you know, it's easy to say something like that, but it's difficult to follow through with it, right? I mean, you know, just thinking about the way that he's describing our ability to let things happen to us. I think oftentimes we have barriers up depending on what it is because we're afraid of allowing something unknown or uncertain to happen to us. I don't know if I'm...
No, I agree with you because when I was thinking about this, the word let, you know, don't become a victim of your circumstances or what can you do to get around obstacles in your life, but that's easier said than done. But I think, you know, just constantly pushing yourself, letting your guard down and just trying to be the best you can be, that's all you can really ask for.
And even if you just kind of take it in steps, like let it down just a little bit, then a little bit more once you feel more comfortable. So it's not a complete 180, but you know, 5 degrees here and 5 degrees there.
It's a process.
It's a process.
A whole process.
How about that? We've got 30 minutes left. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, come on Facebook, chat with us.
We hope to see you there. We'll be right back.
Hello? Hi there. We're talking about shaking and quaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1 year ago. Do you remember?
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. When a dark delicious cookie meets an icy cold high, meets an icy cold sensation. This
It's just one step closer to being a socialist or a communist country.
Thank you guys for your
Thank you guys,
chat
we
with me.
appreciate
We
you.
it.
Thank
He's
you.
got a live picture, so he's got a scoop. Thank you.
What time is it? You just
Well, happy Monday to you and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with the Chad Silver. We got Jalen Gilkey and Monique Robinson. She's here.
You knew we were going to say something.
I know, I can see it on her face.
I was like, sorry guys, I missed you guys before.
That's okay. We got a nice shot of the greenery behind you while we were waiting. So.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's been so luscious the last couple of
The
months.
greenery is very well upkept.
Hey, so Facebook, the comments are popping off right now. I just went in, I'm trying to read all of them because there are a lot of people talking about a lot of different things today, including Thanksgiving dinner. So
interesting.
If you want to join the
It's almost that
conversation,
time, Chad.
That's right. If you want to join the conversation, head over to Facebook and do that. In the meantime, we are tracking several big stories today. The first one, Guilford County leaders are holding an emergency management meeting to consider next steps following a spike in coronavirus cases. County Commission Board Chair Skip Alston told us he'd like to see a countywide mask mandate, maybe even requiring vaccines for all county employees. County and city leaders plan to hold a news conference after they meet this afternoon. We will let you know what happens.
And right now, parents are gathered outside where Rockingham County School District leaders are scheduled to meet. Leaders are voting tonight on whether masks will be optional. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 p.m. And WFNY News 2's Alma McCarty is at that meeting, so she will have live updates for you at 5 and 6. Stick with us.
And Cone Health is giving out more $100 gift cards to anyone getting their first dose of the vaccine. Gift cards will be offered at several clinics today. They are all listed there on your screen until 5 p.m., so you're running out of time. Gift cards are on a first-come, first-served basis. If you can't make it to today's clinics, Guilford County Public Health is offering gift cards throughout the month if you attend any of their community or mobile clinics. And if you drive someone to get a gift card or to get a vaccine and a gift card, you will get $25 in return.
Let's get into your 4 to 5 roundup. The U.S. Postal Service finalized plans to slow some mail delivery standards in an effort to reduce its growing debt and help the struggling agency catch up. The Postal Service said in a notice that 61% of first-class mail would remain at its current standard and 70% would move to a delivery standard of 3 days or less. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy proposed relaxing first-class letter delivery standards to a 1 to 5 day benchmark back in March. USPS is facing an expected $160 billion in losses over the next decade, forcing the agency to find ways to pinch pennies. Under current standards, the Postal Service said it has to rely heavily on air transportation, which it claims is less reliable and more costly. And the Senate reconvened today as they move closer to a final vote on a $1.2 trillion infrastructure package. The plan would include $550 billion in new spending for the nation's physical infrastructure, such as roads, bridges, and broadband. And once infrastructure makes it through the chamber, Democrats are already eyeing another spending plan. The $3.5 trillion budget would fund spending on health care, child and elder care, education, and climate change. And the CDC issued a new eviction moratorium to offer additional protection from eviction for most North Carolina renters. The moratorium is now in place through October 3rd and applies to counties experiencing substantial to high levels of coronavirus transmissions. This means all TRIAD counties will continue offering money through the HOPE program or their local counties program. Applications are still available for renters in need of assistance. We have that information on our website. And you got to check this out. The Olympics may be done here on Earth, but astronauts and cosmonauts are competing in their own Olympics aboard the International Space Station. There are two international teams, the Soyuz and the Team Dragon. The athletes competed in zero gravity events such as no handball, synchronized floating, and gymnastics. NASA did not report if any medals were awarded. Well, that's pretty cool. I wonder what the synchronized floating
Right, I
is
know.
like.
It's like the synchronized swimming, except you're not in the water and you're obviously floating. You know what I thought about? It would be interesting to see, like, we're going to get to the point in this evolution of using space all the time now that like shows like Big Brother or shows like Love Island are going to take place in space. I think that's going to be kind of cool.
Very
I'm
cool.
kind of intrigued by the no handball.
Yeah.
How do you start and how do you finish that, right?
I think maybe you just maybe use other body parts. You just can't use your hands, so kind of like soccer.
I'm intrigued.
I just made that up though. I really have no
You had me going though, so I was with you.
Yeah.
Lauren, you said astronauts, and what was the other name that you referred?
Cosmonauts.
Cosmonauts.
What does that mean? I'm not familiar.
I'm gonna look it up really quickly.
I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure it has something to do with space.
Well, yeah, but I never heard of that word before, so I wanted to add it to my dictionary in my brain, but I didn't know what that meant.
Chad, any luck?
Siri. I can't even find the search bar on here. So.
Well, you know, we'll have that update on our Facebook page. We'll
Yes, please. I really want to know.
Oh, it's a Russian astronaut. A cosmonaut is a Russian astronaut.
So they got their own special branch or name? Interesting.
That sounds about right. All right, let's move on to weather.
Yeah, well, here in the Weather Center, things are starting to shape up and be a bit busier, at least in the tropics, not so much here on our radar. But over the last couple of days, I've been taking a very close look at the southern Atlantic to see how these different disturbances that have been popping up will develop. One of which, this Invest 94L, showing the best chance of development over the next even 48 hours. You can see it's starting to organize itself a little bit better. We're not seeing that well-defined circular center that really allows for it to get that characteristic as a tropical depression, but soon enough it's entering in a space where it could help to organize itself a little bit better. So I'm going to keep eyeing it, but forecast models that we use as meteorologists are already starting to show trends of where this area of low pressure is headed. You can see it continues in this west-northwest track, impacting potentially some Caribbean islands, bringing in heavy rainfall at the least, but again, continuously watching it. And then as we get towards the weekend and start of next week, uncertainty increases, meaning we don't exactly know what will happen, where it will go. And again, it isn't even a tropical depression yet, or nonetheless a tropical storm. But if it does, it will then be the 6th named storm of the season as Tropical Storm Fred. But again, I'm going to keep a close eye on it over the next couple of days to see what exactly happens and what we could expect, if any, at all in the triad with this particular system. Right now in the triad, upper 80s, it's hot and sticky out.
All right, calling all WFNY News 2 foodies, please represent. Are you ready? Okay. Yes. All right, so raise your hands if you do these things. You challenge yourself to make good tasting and good looking food. You talk about and post what you're going to make or what you have made. Oh,
Lauren's a big poster. Lauren's a big poster.
I post.
Jalen says no. All right, above all else, you take pictures of your food. Yes. Okay, my friends, we are foodies. What do you love about being a foodie?
I kind of like to just show off my work, and I'm not gonna lie, like when people are like, that's good, fire, like it does make me feel good inside.
I'm kind of the same way. I like to be able to, first of all, I don't know why Jalen's back.
That's what I said, I got double.
Like a floating head.
Like weird.
I'm always behind you, Chad.
Right. I can't focus on food when I got 2 Jalen's over me. But I just like to, it's almost like art, right? Like you get to show off, and this is what I've created. Since I'm not artistic at all, that's about my artwork.
Okay, and you see this picture in the middle is all these people taking pictures of their food because we all do it, right? I know in the South, macaroni and cheese is a veggie. Do you all consider it a vegetable?
It's a side.
It's a side. I don't consider it a vegetable.
I made some banging macaroni last week.
He posted
and you brought nothing in, but you did post it. Okay.
I did.
So what we're talking about today is a different way that I don't ever make things steamed. I know, Chad, you make things grilled all the time, but we're talking steamed.
Steaming is a great way to cook without adding fat and calories, and it retains nutrients that could be lost when boiling. And you don't have to sacrifice flavor.
All right, so check it out. Here are 5 ways to kick it up a notch with some flavor. You can infuse flavor with other liquids. Try broth, beer, wine, flavored vinegar. Avoid thick liquids like that tomato sauce because it's just going to burn. All right, you can flavor the cooking liquid. Think lemon peel or dill, sliced garlic. You can steam seafood with white wine, onion, lemon juice, and some herbs. A bit of sesame oil, they say, goes a really long way. Chicken or potatoes are enhanced by rosemary and garlic. Now, this is different to me. Hands-on seasoning. You spice up the foods before steaming. You brush on the lemon juice with the flavor vinegar, and you pack in the spices. And then soaking up the flavors, they say marinate the foods before steaming, adds a whole lot of flavor. A mixture of soy sauce and sesame oil along with rice wine vinegar and lemon juice makes fish, fantastic, they say. All right, and last but not least, the parchment paper thing or foil. You make a sealed envelope around whatever the food is, and it creates steam in the oven. So if you don't steam on the top of your stove, you can do it in your oven, and it's a whole lot less mess.
Hello, hello. I am talking about coworkers and how to make life better for everyone. All right, excellent.
Well, many companies are saying goodbye to working from home as they start to bring employees back to offices. It's been over a year since a lot of coworkers have seen each other, and that could cause some tension or even some anxiety.
Right, Blanca Cobb is here to talk about keeping those tensions low. Blanca, I think a lot of people are put in this situation. You are vaccinated, you have coworkers who aren't vaccinated. How do you navigate that type of situation?
That can be tricky, Chad, but what you have to do is just be friendly. Just keep moving on. So you don't make any type of assumption or any type of facial expression. You don't let your opinion show about how you feel about people who've gotten vaccinated or not vaccinated. You just need to be you. Treat everybody the same. And look, if let's say you're comfortable wearing a mask around people, fine. Someone might question it or look at you funny. You could say something like, I just want to keep everybody safe. Whatever you say, make sure it comes from you, because you want to make sure you're not inadvertently putting blame on anyone for their position.
So this is something that I think about often. How can you be polite and friendly with coworkers but still keep your distance?
Great question. And as you're approaching coworkers, you place those physical boundaries. You stop short and you make sure you have a smile on your face. And look, and if you want to get closer but not physically move in, lean forward just like I am right now, because it gives the impression, oh, they want to talk, they want to get closer, but you're still maintaining your distance.
I think a lot of people, when we read body language, facial features are very important in that, and just being able to read people's faces. But with a mask on, it makes it difficult.
It does make it difficult, but what you do is you focus on what you can see, and you can see the eyes and the eyebrows and the forehead. But you notice how I lift my eyebrows up, or I can squint just a little bit. right? I can make my eyes bigger, and I can give you a glare. There's so much that you can see in the eyes, the eyebrows, and even the forehead. When the forehead rises, that can indicate some tension. But you want to pair all of this with what you see in the rest of their body language. If their shoulders are relaxed or not. Are they turning away from you? Are they fidgeting with their fingers? And also, how are they using their voice? Are they animated? Right? You can tell by somebody's voice if they're into a conversation or if they're not, or maybe if they're annoyed. So if you pay attention to all other body language from shoulders to their feet, it's going to give you a lot more information.
So watch the eyes and listen to the voice. Thank you so much, Blanca. Very great information, because this is something a lot of us are going to be dealing with over the next several months, weeks, and it's something I definitely think about.
And one topic that in the future, Blanca, I would love to be able to hear from you on is how to navigate relationships with coworkers who are on the opposite side of the vaccination spectrum. Because, you know, I think we're getting to a point now where people are getting upset with those on the other side. People who aren't vaccinated are getting upset with people who are, saying that they're being forced to do things, and then people who are vaccinated getting upset with their unvaccinated coworkers because they're saying that they're inhibiting our ability to move past the pandemic. So at some point, I would love to be able to hear from you about that, because I think a lot of people are dealing with situations that we haven't been able to navigate at work. We haven't been able to discuss for a long time with each other face to face, and so I'm curious to see how we will navigate ourselves out of this.
Our next segment. I like that.
Right. Yes.
Great questions there. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is a masked mic check.
Just 3 days from the first round of the Wyndham Championship, this is a big deal considering fans were not allowed last year.
Officials announced new safety protocols for fans just last week, which includes an updated mask policy. WFNY News 2's Sydney Moore has a closer look at the other protocols in place to help slow the spread of the virus as cases pick up again.
This year, fans will be back at the Wyndham Championship, but with the Delta variant spreading in communities, it is taking extra precaution to keep folks safe. Hand sanitizer will be placed around the golf course, and there will be a significant number of restrooms to wash hands when needed. The tournament will require everyone in advance, including vaccinated people, to wear a mask indoors. This includes areas like the clubhouse, hospitality areas, equipment trailers, and also shuttle buses. For those not fully vaccinated, the tournament stated that a mask should be worn outdoors when unable to be socially distant. The tournament director says he is asking everyone to bring a mask, and they will also have some available at the tournament. Sydney Moore, WFNY News 2.
Hard to believe it has been a year since a significant earthquake hit our area. You'll remember the 5.1 magnitude earthquake rattled Sparta and the surrounding area, which led to numerous aftershocks for months. WFNY News 2 photojournalist Manning Franks was back in the Sparta area today to talk to people 1 year later.
At 8:07 a.m., the town of Sparta and the county of Allegheny suffered a 5.1 magnitude earthquake.
Probably a good 10-15 seconds of just sheer trembling and shaking and roaring.
It turned my chair so hard, so fast, it threw me out of it.
It wasn't until later that evening another member of our post actually called me up, says, you might want to come by the post. It was heartbreaking.
It was difficult to walk in it to try to get anything out, and so we lost everything that we had.
Done a lot of damage here in our community, but we are rebuilding and we are coming back.
Our building is 100% completely open and finished.
Local and state officials have risen to the challenge, with numerous homes being repaired and countless more underway.
We could see the thing built before it was ever built, and right now we're to the point of within almost ready to move back in.
Our work's not done. This 3-year program authorized by the legislature is on track to complete most of the repair work within a 2-year time frame.
We're happy, the community's happy, and it's an accomplishment. It needs to be done as quick as we got it done.
And we are open. Come see us. Sparta Strong.
It's unbelievable. So many people are still recovering from this a year later, Tim.
It is amazing, and you know, if you lived in the Triad, you remember this system, right? It was a big deal. We woke up, it was a Sunday morning, beds shaking in Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point, wherever you were, you kind of felt this thing. So for me, it was one of the first earthquakes I remember feeling, and of course up in Sparta, the damage was pretty significant.
And you know, I love the idea that they're now saying, you know, Sparta Strong, come back. We are here. We are open. We've got businesses. You know, we're still kind of cleaning up some of the places, but come back. You know, we've got a lot to see and do here, and I think it's important that people continue to go back. You know, we keep hearing, Tim. You know, I don't even know off the top of my head how many earthquakes they have felt since then, but they just keep coming.
Yeah, at last count, Chad, I kind of forget how many it is as well. It's well over 40. So when you have an earthquake, it's very common we talk about an aftershock. We think about that happening maybe a day or a 2-day period afterwards. They can actually happen as long as 6 months after the earthquake. Now, they're usually small. They've had about 40 to 50 1 to 2 magnitude earthquakes, which are no big deal, but still unsettling to say the least. That one was a magnitude 5. That's what's rare for our part of the country.
Glad they've been able to regroup like they have.
Absolutely. Monique.
Yeah, I would say one thing that I do appreciate about North Carolina is the community. Whenever there's a natural disaster, everyone does come together, and it's truly beautiful to see, as in the case in Sparta with that earthquake. Here at home, we're not expecting anything truly severe for at least today, but we're going to be talking about the heat and humidity for the next couple of days for certain. With this Bermuda high in place, keep pumping in tropical air and moisture. So take a look at this. The humidity values over the next couple of days trending in the uncomfortable, sticky range. I mean, not much of a change over the next couple of days, kind of sort of a copy and paste forecast when we're talking about the temperatures and the humidity. The shower and storm chances, those fluctuate a bit, but for at least the heat and humidity, we're all going to be feeling it. Now, this storm system is now what's being called potential tropical storm 6. Not a tropical storm yet, but I'm going to keep keeping my eyes on it over the next couple of hours and day, and all the details coming up more with Tim in just a bit.
Winston-Salem officials say they expect to receive more cash cards any day now.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Hi there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina.
Mic check 1, 2. Your quote of the day: success is not about your circumstances, it's about
Rockingham County. Now, this is how many people are, hey, it's Alma doing a mic check, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out here in Rockingham. Commissioners are meeting with mayors as well as health experts and county staff. This meeting was
To require masks or not, it's something Guilford